Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to dive deep into two tiny little words that cause some major confusion for just about everyone learning English: must and have to. So, have you ever been in the middle of a sentence and just frozen, wondering which one you're supposed to use? If so, you are so not alone. They feel almost the same, but the differences, while subtle, are actually super important. The goal today? To clear all that up for good.
All right, let's just start by saying, yeah, this is a real grammar headache. And for good reason. In a lot of other languages, there's just one word that does the job of both, which makes this whole English thing feel extra tricky.
So, seriously, don't beat yourself up if you've been mixing them up. Even native speakers can get a little sloppy with this. What we're going to do is break it all down into a few simple, memorable rules that'll have you using them like a pro. Okay, first things first. Let's get into the classic foundational rule that you'd probably find in any grammar textbook. This is really our starting point for getting the core difference between these two. At their heart, both words are all about obligation. Something that needs to get done. They both signal that something is required. But the reason it's required, well, that's where things get interesting. The key difference really comes down to where the feeling of obligation is coming from. Think of must as an internal thing. It's a strong, personal feeling that you need to do something, like I must call my mom because you feel it's really important. Have to, on the other hand, is usually for an external obligation, a rule, a law, something someone else is telling you to do. For example, I have to pay my taxes. It's not a personal desire, it's the law. And this example just illustrates that shift in perspective perfectly. The teacher is the one setting the rule, the authority figure. So for them, it's you must. But for the students who are on the receiving end of that rule, the obligation is external. So they say, we have to. It's the exact same obligation, just seen from two different sides. Pretty cool, right? So we've covered the basics, but now we are getting to the single most important rule in this entire explainer. Seriously, if you only remember one thing from our chat today, make it this. Okay, here's the crucial part. When you make these words negative, must not, and don't have to, don't just mean something a little different, they mean the complete opposite. This is a huge deal, and it's where most people get tripped up. Let's look at this table. It lays it all out. Must not, or the contraction mustn't, means something is forbidden. It is a prohibition. It means you are not allowed to do it, period. But don't have to is totally different. It means there's no obligation. It's optional. You can do it if you want to, but you really don't need to. And this is exactly why that difference matters so much. Check out this super common mistake. If you say, you don't have to smoke in the restaurant, what you're actually saying is that smoking is a choice that they can if they want to. The correct phrase, of course, is you must not smoke because it's against the rules, it is forbidden. So we've gone over the strict grammar rules. But language is a living, breathing thing, right? An everyday conversation doesn't always follow the textbook. So let's look at how this all plays out in the real world. In reality, a few different things influence which word people are going to choose. It can depend on if you're speaking or writing, if you're asking a question, and especially if you're talking about the past or the future. Generally speaking, must tends to sound a bit more formal, a little more official. It's really common in written stuff like signs or documents. All visitors must sign in. But in just regular, everyday chat, especially in American English, have to is way, way more common. You tell a friend, I have to run to the store, not I must go to the store. And hey, this isn't just theory. Here's a comment from an English learner on Reddit, and they hit the nail on the head. They pointed out that saying you must see this in a casual conversation just sounds really unnatural. And they are absolutely right. The normal, relaxed way to say it is definitely, you have to see this. Another huge reason have to is so common is that it's just more flexible. Must is kind of a one-trick pony. It's stuck in the present tense. You can't say, I musted work late yesterday, right? It just sounds bizarre. So for the past, we use had to. And for the future, we use will have to. Have to basically does all the grammatical heavy lifting for us. And what about when you're asking questions? Well, while must you is technically correct, it can sound pretty formal, kind of old-fashioned, and maybe even a little bit irritated. The much more natural, common way to ask about an obligation is with have to, as in, do you have to go to that meeting? Okay, I know that was a lot of information to throw at you. So let's just boil it all down into a simple, practical guide that you can start using right now. This right here is the number one takeaway, the big one. If you forget everything else, just remember this. The negative forms are opposites. Mustn't means no, you can't, it's forbidden. Don't have to means, it's your call, no big deal. It is the single most important distinction. So here it is, your final cheat sheet. When you're making a positive statement, must and have to are pretty similar, so don't stress too much. When you're making a negative statement, they're complete opposites, so be careful. And for almost all questions and for talking about the past or future, have to is going to be your go-to choice. So there you have it, a full breakdown of must versus have to. Now that you're armed with all this knowledge, I've got a question for you. Are you going to start hearing this distinction everywhere you go, in movies and songs and conversations? Because I'm willing to bet you will. And once you notice it, you can't unnotice it. Happy learning!
Hello, it's Rod's friend here, Gino from Real Everyday English. Sorry for interrupting your video. I just want to make a quick recommendation that you subscribe to Rodrigo's channel. He's an amazing guy, he's so humble, he's so dedicated, and he creates absolutely fantastic content. See you people soon. Bye-bye. God bless.